But on the whole, I found the speech illuminating and well written. If you think about it, the past 6 years, it was very hard, listening to the president sometimes. When he starts a well-written in the middle of it, he starts talking. No, so it's a welcome. For me, it's welcome just to see somebody read the speech from start to finish, where there's as far as the message is concerned. No? So for me, I have very low expectations.
It's not a minor.
Marami nagreklamo na hindi raw naiintindihan. There were elements of it that point to a particular vision and mission for the new administration. And of course, the familiar themes of unity.
But Professor Lacierda, there's something about that point, no? Na at least dire-diretso yung speech, walang ad-lib. And so, but it is not a minor detail, di ba? Parang it's not just about style. There are practical implications to this style. One, it's on time. It's predictable. It's on time. What you get on the speech also is exactly what you get to read in the news. It's unfiltered after he delivers it. And I would think from a policy standpoint, even for the private sector, even for civil society, we're not, reading tea leaves after. We don't have to wait for an official, after something that we just heard.
Interpretation.
Clarification. I mean, yes. but in practical terms, I guess it's a different style. But beyond that, what does that mean for how people can expect to work? And how they expect this government to work and how they can expect to work with this government.
You mentioned about the different kinds of audience that this speech was laid out for. But I think the other importance why it wasn't extemporaneous, it was very clearly compartmentalized and stated was his other audience which is a bigger problem for us, is credit ratings agencies, international business people, because they're going to look into how predictable will our loss be if I should invest. Because when we speak of we have a 13 trillion deficit. Our economy is, it's a global economy is in recession practically. So how do you invite more investors to come into the country? So you need two things basically. It's predictability and level playing field. And his speech was very clear. And you're right, you're not reading tea leaves anymore. You don't need a speech spokesperson to interpret. It was quite clear from the very start. And no matter how one if you're a pro-Marcos or anti-Marcos, what came out today was it was a very clear speech. You can judge him exactly, and you know where he is, and we will be able to determine in this next 6 years on a yearly basis, how is he doing? Is he fulfilling the promises he made in his inaugural speech? Because there was no platform during the campaign.
Yeah.
Unlike, for instance, in the panahon ni Noy, talagang labas yung campaign platform namin. You can judge us immediately during the campaign. This time, you've not heard of it by and large. So this is the first time you're hearing a comprehensive vision coming from our president. So that's good for us, good for the people, good for the opposition, good, and more importantly, good for the international community to hear.
Actually, what struck many people also is how he comes across as being traditional, no? Or it's not just because we're coming from President Duterte, who is totally, absolutely out of the mold. I mean, talagang ibang klase. But really, I have to admit, there was a certain sense of relief that it was something that I was familiar with, no? Because it was traditional. Do you think that that's going to be the tone for the rest of his term?
You know what? There's one thing I noticed, and maybe this is during the campaign, and I hope he improves. No, he has never been good answering extemporaneously. Remember that fiasco on the Ukraine, which was, I think, asked by your reporter, si Marian?
Yes.
He's changed his view because obviously it wasn't extemporaneous. Right. He was ambushed, and you expect to be ambushed if you're in a campaign, right? So there's no question that expect media reporters to be hounding a campaign, and you saw how unprepared he was. But we have a saying, and this is a famous saying by Governor Mario Cuomo: you campaign in poetry, you govern in prose. madaling magkampanya. You can say anything, because it's poetry. Talaga campaign yan eh, winning hearts and minds eh. But when you become president, you govern now in prose. Mahaba yan. So talagang you'll be grilled. And therefore, the one thing I want to see from President Marcos is his aptitude to prepare. It seems like, at least during the campaign, he doesn't seem to prepare unless may prepared speech ka. Pero even your extemporaneous responses, dapat alam mo na. So, hindi ka naman pwede ngayon mag-widow. Because if you're now the president, whatever you say counts. And if you make a mistake, you have to immediately correct it. The question now is he going to be prepared for the job right now? I mean, he won, no doubt. But as to being prepared, I remember, I'll give a trivia, the first few months of Pinoy, he was not, medyo hindi siya confident eh. And you can see it eh. But he grew into the role, and I hope that President Marcos will also grow into the role of a president by doing his homework, by studying all the briefing notes, and making sure that he has a good team and talking and discussing with his cabinet all the issues at hand.